Okay, just starting up the stream here. Will be a couple minutes before we actually start the presentation. I'm just getting the stream up and running on YouTube. As always, I have to get the stream up and running before I know what the URL is so that I can share it on Twitter. If anyone knows a better way of doing this, do let me know. So let's go to my channel, and here it is live. One watching, that would be me. Presentation. Make sure we're muted there. Okay. And okay, we'll close that window completely. Leave that one open, but make sure we're muted. Good. No horrible echoes. So, all right. All right, so I've announced it, and we'll give it a minute or two in case anyone's interested to come and follow. It's a live thing, right? So, you know, we're not on a schedule here. Let's move around here and get set up. So, okay, by way of introduction, because who knows when this will be seen in the future, if ever, I'm Stephen Downs, and this is called Live Testing Grasshopper PLE Cloud. And the video is exactly as the title promises. I've wrapped up some code as of yesterday. Got rid of a few long-standing bugs. I still got a bunch of stuff to do, but it should all work right now. And by work, I mean you don't need to do weird things to make it do the sorts of stuff it's supposed to do. So it should work out of the box for other people, not just me. So, but we're going to test that, right? Because I've been here before, and it hasn't always worked right out of the box for people other than me. So, I've given some time for the viewers, if any, to watch, and we've had one person join and quit. That would be me. So here's when I turned it off. So there's nobody watching right now, but that's fine, right? So let's go to right screen with camera, which is really my favorite kind of screen. And here's the Twitter thread. Let's see. Oh, well, somebody noticed it. That's nice. Hi, Michelle. All right. So let's do this. Let's make this a bit bigger. You can't really see the URL, but the URL is, I'm going to use Reclaim Cloud. Hi, Jim. So maybe I should, it doesn't matter. So reclaim.cloud. That's pretty easy to remember. So I have an account on Reclaim Cloud. You know, they're pretty good people. I know them well. So here we are. Right now I don't have any cloud environments running, so I'm just making this more of a full screen experience here. That's about as far as it goes down there. Good enough. And can we make this bigger for you? Well, some of it, but not all of it. All right. So, I always use the marketplace to start. There's the marketplace. And I start a Docker engine. So, install. I always go with the defaults. You know, I could probably change it a bit, but it doesn't matter. All right, so this is going to take a few minutes to get going. So while it's doing its loading stuff, we're going to go to GitHub. This is the Grasshopper Github page. It's simply, well, you can't read it from there, can you? Let's fix that. Copy the URL, Control C. Oh, I'll pop it into the chat. I suppose I could do that. So here I am popping the URL for the Grasshopper GitHub into the chat. So if you are the one person watching, the URL for the Grasshopper GitHub is in the chat. But basically it's simply github.com/downs, that's DOWNES/Grasshopper, gRSShopper. You see the spelling there. So, in theory, it should work straight from the Docker image. Now, the way it works is it uses something called Docker Compose. Docker Compose loads a set, in this case a set of 2 Docker containers, and links them together. To make it work, you need a Docker Compose file, and that's what this does. So we're going to copy this command. It's a CURL, which means get this URL. You see, this is the Docker Compose no build command. It should be the fastest. So let's go into Reclaim, see if we're okay. Yes, it's been successfully deployed. So close, and here it is. Right? I could open it in the browser, but you would see nothing. So I use the engine node, web SSH, and now that command I just copied, Control V to paste, and it's running that command, and it has output the Docker Compose YML. So let's ls to look. You see, there it is. I've copied it from the GitHub site. Now, the next instruction is make dir init. So let's do that. mkdir init. Okay, now when I list, you can see I've created the init directory. Now, the reason why I did this is because I need to give Grasshopper a database to work from. The way Grasshopper works is that it can be used for different things, and in this case I'm using it to create a personal learning environment, but it can also be used to create a MOOC. That's down the road a wee bit, not far, but a wee bit. So the second command is where'd it go? GitHub curl. So we're getting the URL, the SQL, Grasshopper SQL file, and we're going to put it into the init directory. So I'm going to copy that, right click, copy, and come back here, Control V to paste. So now, so that has copied the SQL file, the database, the personal learning environment startup database, and put it in init. So ls, if we cd into init, we can see it. There it is. So cd back out of that. Whoops. So now we're back in the same directory we were when we started. Then finally it says docker compose up, and that's the command to start the Docker repository, or the Docker containers. So what's going to happen is it's going to pull some containers from Docker and install them here, and then load the database and then run all by itself. So Docker, and for me this is a real test because I've set it up so that these Docker containers build automatically on Docker after I upload code to GitHub. So I've not actually personally worked with Docker on these. So I'm kind of trusting the system here. Right. Let's see if it works. I'm going to hit enter. Alright. So now it's downloading. I'll have a sip of coffee while I wait. Takes a little bit. It's a pretty big container. Last time I looked, it was about 250 megabytes. I don't know how much of that is pure waste. Because I haven't worked for efficiency here. But there we go. It's downloaded, started up. Now it's running the initialization script that I've written inside the Grasshopper Docker file. And the magic down here, ready for connections, sitting there waiting. So now I'll go back up here to the top. Now I'll click this little arrow that says open in browser. Now we'll see what happens. Okay, this is because I'm running on HTTPS, but it's a self-signed certificate. So I click on advanced, I accept the risk and continue, and I got nothing. Oh man, can you believe it? Alright, I don't know why. So there's nothing in my container. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Well, see, that's why we test these things. And I don't know why it didn't work. You know how, like on SpaceUp, they blow up their landers? Yeah, that's what I just did. Okay. I wonder why. So, well, this is the code. That's not going to tell me anything. See, this is what it should look like. Can I see any errors? Maybe I'm just missing the start page. Let's try. Yeah, that might be it. Well, no, I don't even have a CGI bin directory in here, do I? Well, let's try anyway. CGI bin server test.cgi. Nope. Okay. Let's go to the repository. HTML. Files are there. CGI bin. Files are there. So I don't know why the build on Docker didn't work. So, alright, let's destroy it. So we're going to delete the environment. Delete. All right. Well, okay. That was a disaster. So it fits right in with the theme of Stephen follows instructions. Let's try it the other way, though, and see if it works. And see if it's a Docker issue with the Dockerization, or whether it's a more generic issue. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to start up. I'm going to create a Docker engine. Install. This usually is the slowest part of the process, just like before. Only this time, we're going to follow the other instructions. I don't know why that didn't work. Docker compose no build. Well, it should have built. Docker build is passing. Should have built. And mostly did everything except import the files. We had a working server, and presumably we had a working database. Could have tested that, but oh well. So, okay, we're going to run it from the GitHub repository. And this works a little bit differently, but and actually is fewer instructions, although it's going to take a little bit longer. So the first command is Git Clone, and what we're going to do is make an exact copy of our repository in our Docker environment. How's it doing? Still building. Let's get rid of that. Okay. And then we're going to change directory into the Grasshopper directory. Then we're going to run our Docker compose file. And it should work. It should work. But we'll see. I'll just copy this ahead of time so that I'm ready when it comes up. So right click, copy. Could copy all three. All right, here we go. Close, close. Here's our engine node. Let's web SSH into it, just like before. All right, so now Control V to paste. So there's the Git Clone command. Can I make this all bigger? No. And okay, so now I've made an exact copy from the GitHub repository. Now I'm going to cd Grasshopper. Okay, let's see if everything's there. Yeah, there's the HTML, and inside the HTML will be the CGI and all of that. All right, and then the next step is Docker compose up. So Docker compose up. So this will build the thing from source. So it's going to take a little while. Less time here than it would on my own computer because, you know, the hosting provider has really good bandwidth. And so when it's pulling in from sources, it can pull pretty fast. Like 100 megabits per second instead of, say, 15 or 20, which is what I have. So this is it building. So it's unpacking a bunch of Perl code and setting up networks and Don't know why it's setting up Python. That shouldn't be. So this is the part where you go out, you get a coffee, you come back. It's not going to take too long. It's certainly doable on the video without being too boring. Speaking of which, how are we doing? One person still watching. Hi. Still installing. The Grasshopper application runs on Perl, and part of my problem is there isn't really a good pre-built Perl environment that I can just use. So I've had to define my own and configure my own with all the Perl modules that I need in various applications. And so that's what we're doing here, is we're actually building that from scratch. Now, what I could do is build a blank or a blank Perl Docker container and just use that, and it would load very quickly. But you've seen the result I've had with just loading from Docker containers. So I like to keep things in my own hands here, just for now anyways. I have actually built a standalone Perl container, but I haven't been using it because everything's in flux. So it's easier, just believe it or not, easier just to rebuild the container each time that I want to use it. So we're still, and this is probably why it's 250 gigabytes. It's got so many, all of these Perl modules. The biggest thing is the module for, believe it or not, Mastodon. And the Mastodon module requires an entire web framework in order to work. I forget what it is. It's Plaque or something like that. So almost half of the Perl installation is the installation of this web framework. And I don't even use it except for the Mastodon module. So one of the things that I want to do in the future is rewrite the Mastodon module so that I just use the code that I actually need and forget about this whole framework, because it really is wasteful. And people shouldn't do that, right? They shouldn't make modules that rely on entire frameworks. So I don't know why this is stopped here. Building and testing IO async. Don't know. I mean, it's going to start up again. It's not just going to stop here. It's just kind of weird that it does. There we go. Don't know why that. Oh, I bet you, because I bet you the testing involves connecting and sending messages back and forth with some external server, or maybe itself even. That is the thing with Perl and Perl modules. Everything, when it installs, everything tests so that it works. But it's also the biggest problem with Perl modules, because sometimes when you're installing, the test fails, and therefore the module install fails, and that means you can't use the module. Having a failed test is useful from the purpose of quality control, but it's not useful when there's no alternative presented when the test fails. So, la-di-da-di-da. So, still installing Perl modules. Like, I think this will work. Of course, I thought the Docker install would work. You see the difference in time, though, right? This is why I want to work with a Docker container directly from the repository. It was so much faster. It didn't work, but it was a lot faster. That should be the story of my life. It didn't work, but it was a lot faster. So, building and testing date time locale. So all the different time zones in the world. IPC. I don't know what IPC is. Let's see if anyone's watching the world's most boring video. Yes, still one person hanging in there. It's gonna load eventually. Alright, so here's the Mastodon client now. Right. Successfully installed 36 distributions. That's craziness. Okay. Net Twitter Lite, which runs on a test client. That one, as I recall, relies on Moose, which is also a framework. It's a bit more lightweight, but it's still more than I would like to have to install. All right. Okay, now it's installing other stuff, so we're almost done here. Setting up SSL. Making some directories. Exposing some ports, launching the image, launching the database. New message, Hubbard to reveal. Oh, we don't care about that. Well, we do. It's from the municipality, but. And here's the magic. Ready for connections. I guess you have to kind of know that this is the finished point. So that's a bit of a trick there, I guess. All right, so it should be set up and ready to run. Let's give it the full screen treatment and see what happens. I'm going to open in browser. We should get the same warning. Yes. That's actually a good sign because it means that the server is running. So I'll accept the risk and continue. And there it is, Grasshopper. Starting up. So getting started, run the server test script and create a new admin user. And I get an error. Huh. That shouldn't be. Okay. Huh. Let's see if stuff works. Not found. Oh, PLE HTML. Alright. So I'm getting an internal server error for some reason. And I don't know why. Don't know why. Well, it should be giving me error messages, so this looks like a permissions thing. Okay, well let's try to root this out and we'll see what the problem is. So, not quite what I was hoping to be showing you all today. Okay, so if we come back here to the instructions, So we can open a terminal in the container, and this is the command. So let's go back to reclaim. Now this thing's sitting here running, so I need to duplicate the session. So now here I am. I'm in the same Docker engine, and ls, see, there's the Grasshopper code, etc. Now, so let's see what's running in Docker. docker docker ps, and that'll tell me the processes. So I have 3 containers running: the add miner, which is access to my database; Grasshopper, which is Grasshopper, and you see the name over here, Grasshopper, Grasshopper 1, and my SQL, which is the database itself. So Control V. So this is going to take me inside the Grasshopper container. This is where all my CGI scripts are. So, all right. Now let's list and see what's in here. Okay, so far so good. Let's now go to the CGI directory. Can I make this bigger? Nope. I wish I could. All right. cd r www html cg ggi bin ls. All right, so there are my scripts. Let's check on the permissions first of all. And there's my problem. None of my scripts have permission to run. So see, like server test, this should have permission to run. Watch what happens when I change this now. So for let's chmod 755 server test.cgi. All right. So now, if we do the ls-l, look at server test. Now we can see it has permission to run. So when I actually run it, it should run. And there it is. So the login widget here also does not have permission to run. So let's do that. In fact, let's give everything permission to run. Okay, chmod 755 server test. And let's also do that for the API. And let's also do that for the harvester. And let's also do that for the admin. And that should do us for now. That's weird because I haven't been having this problem before, so I don't know why this installation had this problem, but we'll reload this page, and this is still giving me an error. Why? Oh, because I didn't. So that's a login widget. Login widget. Right, now it'll work. Whoops, that's not it. There we go. Alright, so that's better. We'll just give ourselves some generic admin, password admin. create an admin profile. It'll resend to log me in. Now I'm logged in. I can try out my new PLE. That's another issue. I'm missing my image. Where is my image? Should be there, but it's not. Oh, it has errors. I've had that problem before. And I don't know why that image has errors, but I can't seem to stop it from having errors. So I'm going to have to work on that. All right. So there's Grasshopper. So the only problem was the permissions. This isn't the problem with the other container, although if I had permission errors, that might have stopped the build from working properly. So let's see if we can have a look. These all work now, although there's nothing new to read because I just started it. I should seed it with some stuff. Find online courses, there's nothing to find yet. Add a new content source works. All of these work. Like, for example, configure social media accounts. Right? So here's my Twitter account, Facebook, Mastodon, MailChimp, and Badger. I would need to create accounts on all of these and put in my information. Now, I'd like a way of doing that more easily, but you'd have to talk to people at Twitter, Facebook, Mastodon, etc. But once they're connected up, it's great. I wish I could create something faster for that. But so let's go back to the home page. This is a little grasshopper icon here. So edit personal profile. There's my profile. Right. Make a new web page. There's a 0 error 0 because there's no pages to list. Maybe there should be something there, but there's nothing there. Yeah, I'm sure it's just it tried to list pages. Oh no, this is still okay, so that's a problem. Let's try that again, see what happens. Make a new web page. No. That 0 error means nothing came back from the API. So let's try it the other way. So make permission denied. So it thinks I am not actually the admin. See, I thought all of these problems were gone. Find.pl line 331. Right, it has me. I wonder if I can make myself admin. Let's try reloading this. No, you must be admin to continue. That's an issue too. That's a big issue because now I can't do anything, right? There's the 0 error again. It's not going to let me do anything because I'm not admin. I'm not properly logged in. Okay, so we're not ready to go yet. So this test has revealed a few problems, and I don't know why they exist, which is the worst of it. First problem is the permissions, and so if we go to run lamp, no, that's not it. Yeah, it's in the Docker file. See? This should have done all of our permissions for us, but that didn't work. I don't know why. And then as well with the admin stuff, I don't know why that didn't work either. So that's kind of weird. Maybe if I made that, well, 755 wouldn't make a difference. It wasn't, none of it had permissions to execute by anyone. And even here, chmod 775, that should have been given permission to just about the entire world to run. So this here, this is my Docker file. So here's where it gives permission for all the stuff in CGI bin. And for the server test, addressing the chmod problem, it did it. You know, you'd think this would work. It doesn't. Okay, I'm going to end the video here. So this is, man, another SpaceX version of Grasshopper. Crashing and burning. Don't know why. Don't have a clue why. It works fine on my computer. So, you know, we can see it on my computer working great. So there's the MOOC version, but we can come over here, and this is the one I'm running it actually on a Docker container that's currently running right on my computer. So, you know, here's list and listing all the pages. You know, and I have it running on my website, same code. So anyhow, I'll have to figure it out. I don't know why it didn't work. I wonder, let's go back to Reclaim. Go back to the install. Because we should actually see where it ran that command. Oops, too far. See, here it is right here. So there's no errors or anything. It just copy chmod. Oh, well, that's not right. CGI bin test. That's not right. Huh. See here, chmod 705, CGI bin server test, and yet here, yeah, make dir CGI bin test, run, okay. Oh, I was copying it into test. Chmodding test. Is all of that actually there? CD There's no directory called test. So why did these commands run as test? Oh, that's really strange. Okay, let's check the Docker file here on GitHub to see if it's not right somehow. Ah. How did that happen? How did that happen? Well, here it is here too. Okay. Okay. I must have been messing around with something and completely forgotten it. Alright. Maybe I can fix my way out of some of these problems here. Let's go back in here. I'm going back into the Reclaim Cloud and going to go into CGI bin, if I can find it. Where am I? I'm in CGI bin. Yeah, this test is just not there. Well, this is going to be a pretty boring video, so maybe I'll just kind of kill it here. And I'll come back when I have an answer for y'all. So, this has been Stephen Downs on Stephen Follows Instructions, building Grasshopper, and it was another explosion. But we'll try again a bit later. So, thanks everyone. It's been fun. Welcome to my world. Oh, I have 2 viewers now. Well, I'll tell you what. If you guys keep viewing, I'll keep streaming. I mean, why not? And we'll see if we can work this through together. Fail fast, troubleshoot, persist, win. Problems are learning opportunities. Yep. If you're wondering, I'm seeing that here in the chat. Fail fast, persist, win. Yeah, well, I'm gonna get this to work. I know I'm gonna get this to work because I know the chmod stuff does work. I just don't know why it's not working. So, okay. So, but this didn't even make the directory, and that's kind of weird. So something's weird happening. Let's go back. Okay, I just got, as long as you guys are watching, I'll keep broadcasting. That's the deal. If you guys quit watching, I'll quit broadcasting. But hey, we're still good. All right, good enough. So, all right, let's go back then to trying to solve the problem. And the problem is, let's go back now then to reclaim. We'll look at what happened. Yeah, let's see. So a lot of this stuff just didn't run. What's the last thing that did run? Add. So this worked. All the add stuff worked. And then the chmod didn't work. How do I know the add worked? Well, because I have my files. Is this the first run that failed? No, I don't think so. No, these other runs seem to have worked. So a run command in a Docker file basically tells your container to run a command. And maybe it didn't like the wildcard. Well, it's, I don't know. And yeah, it didn't do that. It didn't make the drift. So none of the run commands worked here. I wish I could see running in. It's kind of weird that these are running in different things too. I don't know what that means though. So let's find out. Whoops, it stopped. That's okay. Let's see if this tells me anything. Docker. It's not going to tell me anything. Let's try this part completely failed. Did not make a directory. All right, well, something, see, all of this worked. All of it worked. But none of this worked. All of the files went in, right? Oh, right. It stopped, so I'm disconnected, right? Yeah. Yep. So I'd have to start this up again. Well, let's try running Docker Compose again. And it should just start up quickly. Yep, there we go. Because everything's been built. And now we'll go back in. Oops. There we are. We're in the right spot. Reload. Yeah, so all the chmod stuff that I already did still persists. Okay, so now we'll come back over here. We'll go back into the environment again. cd html. So everything's there. Now it's all owned by root, but that really shouldn't be a problem. There's all the assets. Okay, so let's see. So the command works. pwd var ww html cgi bin. Let's check that over here. var www html cgi bin. Maybe there shouldn't be a slash on the end, but I'm really fishing here. All right, let's just ask the world. chmod not working correctly. Okay. Run. Okay, so this is exactly what I'm doing. Apache logs. Yeah. Copy sources to a temporary directory. Yeah, I remember that. All right, try adding user root. Let's try that. Copy. So, okay, so we're going to have to rebuild this whole thing. So this will take a little bit of time, but and we'll put it right before that first run. And I'm going to move this copy. And copy. So we're going to copy a whole bunch of stuff, and then we're going to change ourselves to root and then run a bunch of stuff. All right, let's try that. Control S. And so trying chmod problem fix in Docker file. Push it. So what I've done is I've made some edits here. I'm pushing it to GitHub, and because I don't know where the problem lies, right? So I'm just going to run through the whole thing. And yeah, there's no extra spaces or anything. So now, what am I going to do? I'm going to go back to reclaim. Can I just rebuild the Grasshopper? No, because yeah, I'm gonna rebuild the whole thing from scratch. So I'm going to delete this environment. And there it goes. Wasn't working anyways. And we're going to start over from scratch. New launch, right? I'd like to fail more quickly than this, but Alright, so this is going to take some time to install. Yeah, I was investigating this before, and then I kind of forgot about it and went on to another problem. But I guess the problem persisted and didn't magically go away. So, yeah. So, now. But now that I'm thinking back to it, where is my search? I don't know where it is. Okay, Stack Exchange has a weird icon now. Yeah, it's the user that copies the file into the directory is different from the user that runs the command. So I'm going for the quick and dirty solution. Just change the user to root, and that should fix everything. If I really knew what I was doing, which I don't, I'd be doing user management throughout. So I'd with my Docker file, I'd probably set up a user, like a web user, and set up a group and put the web user and the web server into that group, change the ownership of everything to either the web server or the web user, and then switch over to that user and change all the permissions. That's if I knew what I was doing, which we've established I don't. So, okay, close, All right. So SSH connecting into my thingy. And again, I always forget my own commands. So, okay. Run from the Git image. Git Clone. Copy. Okay. CD Grasshopper. And the next thing would be to run the Docker Compose up. But let's just check and make sure my changes propagated into my Docker file. More Docker file. So let's look and see. Yeah, okay, so there's user root. Okay, so Docker Compose up. Now remember last time it's going to take like forever. I should have just blocked out that install Mastodon stuff, but oh well. So coming back to this then, and let's just tag that so we know it's there. Avoiding permission issues with Docker. So, all right. So there's my problem. This isn't really helping me. Is this what you were seeing? Yes. One frequent solution is to show your shared folder again and again. Yes. First, let's look at a quick fix. Why do you just give me the quick fix? Like, give me the better alternative. You can do it better. Okay, here's the better alternative. Set the Docker user when running your container. Here it is. So this is just for running. So what this would do is simply run a single Docker file. So here's the user. Okay. Now in Docker Compose, this is basically going to be the equivalent of the user command. Now, what this crap is, haven't a clue. They tell the container to run with the current user ID and group ID, which are obtained dynamically through bash command substitution by running the IDU and IDG and passing on their volume or their values. The problem here is, well, why tell me something that's not going to work? Arg, user ID, group ID. Okay, so we're basically defining variables here. Or importing variables. Add group from group ID. Now, I'm sure it's a good idea, but it wasn't very clearly written. Okay, how to give folder permissions inside a Docker container. I'm doing this because I know that the install is stunning, right? Yep. So yeah, so here he's running chmod, hitting the same problem I am. User admin, right? So we have to change the user again. Okay. So that's what they're doing there. Cannot change owner and permissions of a volume inside. Okay, it's Docker forums. And that's just not going to respond. Same kind of thing, same kind of issue. And there's no answer on this forum, so not a really useful thing. Okay, this is just tile aside. As far as I can tell, the changing the user to root should work. Still, remember we were building and testing these tests. That took forever. And see, this is all the install for Mastodon, right? Found dependencies. And log any image, type path, role, Well, that's not a whole lot of stuff. Okay, well, it's building. It's still building. So while we're waiting, let's see if we still have our viewers. Oh, we were actually up to 3 there for a moment. They quickly realized how boring this video is, and yeah, it could be a lot more exciting. I admit. I would really much rather be working on live code. That's more exciting. It's more exciting for you too. So, because like normally when I'm working on this stuff, I'm just working on localhost here, and I'm just doing things. See, there my image works. Just doing things like making sure all of these things work. So read what's new. Well, let's see if cron. Oh no, because I don't have any feeds. Let's go to the one on my website. So actually I have it in a separate window. So here's the one on my website. I use the inspector a lot. Alright, so if I read what's new here, alright, here's my RSS reader. And here it is, and I've built these little nifty forward and backward things. And the next thing to do here, well, there's a couple of things I want to do. Maybe have a display of my individual records that's more like a traditional reader. So you have just a bunch, a bunch of different articles on the same page, and then you can click and open up an article. I kind of like it like this because I want to do things with it, but and I like having the whole story there. But a more traditional reader, like if we look at Feedly, for example, here's Feedly, right? And so we'll actually see it actually loads a whole bunch of stories, and then I can just scroll through them like this. I'm just clicking J, right, and it just scrolls through. So that's pretty nice, and then you have a bunch of options for each story that you can do to manage it. So I'm showing one story at a time, and then you have to click a button to show the next one. And the problem is there's a bit of a lag as it loads. So I like this. And then you have, if we come back to the top, different options for the display. Change layout, right? So for example, I can have the title only view. I don't really like this view because you know, how do I know, like I want to be able to indicate that I've read it, but when you just view the titles like this, like you don't want it to flip to you've read it, obviously. So you can't really use it, you know, unless you're scanning something very quickly, like, you know, scanning for stuff that catches your eye or something like that. Some of the other views that Feedly allows, magazine view, all I can say is yuck. Or even worse, cards view, which all you can say is really yuck. But again, if you don't care about keeping track of what you've read, this isn't that, right? You just scan through, right? Pick something, and now we're into the reading pane here. And then close, and it comes back. It's not bad, you know. But the precise design of the reader isn't the big issue for me. I mean, you know, it's a usability thing, but what I want to do, and I have script that does this, and there needs to be a button or maybe a number of buttons here that say auto post. And what should happen is, if you're reading something, you decide to auto post, it should pop you into make a new post with this link. So basically what you're doing is creating a link post, or something, a link to just comment, and that'll just open up a comment window. You comment, and this is like the R comments that I was working on earlier, where the comment is published on your website, but then it sends a web mention to the other website. Either of these things I want to build into the reader here. And that's what you would see me doing if I wasn't working on this. So speaking of this, let's come back. It should have finished loading by now. Way too many windows open, but here we go. And yeah, ready for connection. Okay, so let's see if we have any joy. So, potential security risk. Go back. No, accept the risk and continue. Welcome to Grasshopper. So far, so good. Now, still an error. Crap. That means the chmod thing still didn't. And what really bothers me is it used to work. It used to work just fine, and then it stopped working. So, and what we'll find is that these permissions haven't changed. So let's open a shell into it just like before, so I have to remember how to do that. Okay, here's the command to open up a terminal. I'll go back into Reclaim. Let's duplicate our session. Just Docker PS to see what's running. Control V. And CD to the right directory. Notice I've memorized all these directories. ls.l and no permissions. So again, that's our issue. All right. Another suggestion that I saw in the Stack Overflow was to just run the copy and chmod commands in the same command. So see, you notice how we have, say, here, copy, well, here we go, right here. Copy server test, right? Now, I can string another command onto that with an ampersand. I don't do it very often. In fact, I don't do it at all. But you just go ampersand and then your next command. So in this case, let's make our next command run the chmod. And I'm not even going to bother with the rest because, okay. All right. And Control X. Oh, not the test. The actual server test, this one. Control X. Yeah. Now let's put user root up above all of this. Oh, well, it's up here at the top. I've already done that. It didn't help. I wish I'd seen that before. I could have saved myself a little time. Okay, so let's try that. And let's make it 755 because I like that better anyways. Not that it'll make a difference because I'm not using groups, but if I decide to, I won't have to go back and fix that. Okay, I'll just try it with that. So, and you see, we have to do the same thing. I know there's a faster way to test this. I'm really sorry about that. All right. So, commit, push. Now, I wonder if I just, let's try maybe a faster way of doing that. We'll go back into the reclaim environment, into here. Control C will stop these things. All right. Just waiting for Grasshopper to stop. It's the slowest to stop. All right. Now, let's clone this stuff again. So that's made some changes to the local repository. Oh, duh. Ignore this. I cloned it into the wrong directory, so I've just removed that. Okay, good. CD up. Now let's clone it. Whoops. Right. Git clone. All right. And is not an empty directory. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, okay. Oh, I didn't have to do that. I could have just used... Oh well. Could have just used... And I actually anticipate that in here where I could have just used the command git pull origin master just to update what I've already downloaded instead of removing the entire directory, but okay. Too late now. cd gr grasshopper. Now let's make sure that my changes are in there. Okay, there it is, right? So there's the long command. All right. So let's try docker compose up. Now it should rebuild, but I don't think the build would be as extensive as it was before. Or maybe it won't rebuild. Yeah, it didn't rebuild. So, okay, let's kill this. Again, there's probably a better way to do this. Oops. So, delete. Back to the start. Install. Install. And away we go. I'm also thinking about that admin problem, and the problem might be, well, no, that wouldn't be it. That problem's still there too. Let's see if we're still. Oh, someone gave up. I'm so sorry, but we still have one person. So we're just waiting for this to, and then we'll be redoing the whole thing. So let's come back to what I was looking at in the other thing. So, and yeah, I was talking about the changes I want to make on the reader here. And so what I did yesterday is I cleaned up this section. And I was having an issue where when I opened up the admin, right? So I have these various things. When I clicked one of these things, it was wiping out this row of tabs. So I fixed that. It was an extra div in the database tab. So that's pretty annoying. But okay. And the other thing is when I click on this, right, this should actually open something in here. So I don't like it when it just doesn't open anything. I'd like it to at least open the general tab, so that it gives you something. It gives you a starting point. Now, the way that works is in here, we'll inspect this element. So here it is, right? This is it right here. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see. Can I make this bigger? Oh yeah. Let's move this up a bit. So here it is, right? So you can see what happens is I have an on-click open tab and that's going to open the admin tab, and then open div, that's supposed to open my admin general, and for some reason it's not. And if I just look at this tab, which we know will open general because it just did, so let's inspect that. See, I'm doing it slightly different here. open tab, main window, general. So let's try just fixing that by edit as HTML. This has nothing to do with the problem. I'm just trying to make things work a little bit better. So this is editor links, main window, general. Alright, so now the code for this whole page is in here in PLE.html. So HTML, PLE.html, and we'll scroll down a bit, So, a bit more. No, all right. Tab contents. Oh, that's the right page still. Okay. Main content. There's that icon that's always broken. All right. The database link. Here it is. Admin, general. So let's see what happens if instead of that, actually I've taken to doing it like this recently. Editor links, or that's the second row, so let's remove that. Alright, let's see. Control S to save, and I'll reload this. Oh, this is, I'm working. Oh, let's check that. Oh, close. All right, so we're up and running here. Web SSH. Okay, so let's not lose the thing that I just copied. So we'll just there. Just put that to the side. All right. Grasshopper. Git Clone. Oops, let's make sure I'm doing the right thing. Git Clone. Docker compose up. And now we're going to have to wait about 5 minutes again. So we'll come back to what we were doing over here. So here it is running in localhost. I'm going to reload here. Okay. Click on this. And now nothing out. That's no good. So, all right, let's get that thing that I saved there a few seconds ago. Put that back. Okay. All right. Save it. Let's reload it. All this fiddly front end stuff. Click on it. All right. So now it's opening, but it's still not popping open that general window. Oh, I remember now. Yeah. This is an issue with timing. This is really annoying. You'll love this. So, watch what happens if I put an alert between each one of these things. Oh, right. It's got to be single quote. All right. So what's happening here is by putting in the alert, I'm actually forcing an order to the processing. Now watch. So I'm going to come in here, localhost, good. All right. Now I'm going to click on this. There's the first alert. Here's the second alert. All right, it's still going to do all this stuff. But you see what happened? Slowed it all down, and the thing loads. I'm giving everything enough time. If I take out the alert, what's going to happen is this part, loading this thing, tries to run before this bit has loaded. So there's no tab for this bit to actually load into. So I need to run where you do the tab first, or at least faster, and then open the window. Now, there's different ways I could approach this. I could do a timeout for this thing. So anyhow, that's what the issue is there. I don't know how to fix that. There is a way. You can actually sequence these events where you can make one dependent on the other, like open tab only once you have the thing. You can't just throw an if-then statement, because if you say something like, if this tab is open, then run this open tab. When it runs, if this tab is open, it'll be running this before the tab has actually had time to open. So, because really, the way JavaScript is single-threaded, but it's running these three commands at the same time. That's how you have to think about it. And because it's running these three things at the same time, you can't be sure that when this one runs, this one has finished. But the problem is, this one depends on actually this one to have already run. So that's why that happens. Annoying, isn't it? And so it's a really weird kind of conceptual state that you have to get yourself into when you're coding in JavaScript. And it's not the same as coding in other languages. Just not. So here now I've removed the alerts. See? This loaded, but this didn't load because it tried to load, but this wasn't loaded yet. And so it had no place to go. So it simply failed. Failed silently, too, I might add. All right, let's see how we're going with this thing here. Still installing. Still installing. I might just remove the Mastodon line. That would speed up the installs quite a bit. Put it back in later. You always have to remember that you've done stuff like that. Okay, so what else were we looking at here? So, oh yeah, this too. I was looking at this. This is pretty cool. So, you see how I have Grasshopper? Well, you can't see it here, but I have Grasshopper, and I have these separate windows, right? Well, I'd like to make it so that I can just drag these back and forth. So there's a way to do that. And that is, we set this up so that these divs are draggable or resizable. You see, there you go, right? And really, all you need to do is put class equals resizable. Oh no, here they're actually using something called resizable as a JavaScript to do it. Anyhow, I followed that up a bit further. Here's the function in jQuery that does it. Resizable. And see, there you see. And you can also resize it this way. So I actually tried just sticking this function at the bottom of my page and using it for the divs that I actually use, but it didn't work. I don't know why it didn't work. Well, I have guesses, right? I think it didn't work because I actually specify the absolute width of these so that everything works nice when I open them and close them, right? So the way I've set this up is when I open this opens to 450 or whatever wide, and this moves its right margin or its left margin by 450, and also shrinks so that it doesn't shift over off the end of the page. So it's a nifty little thing that I've got here, but once I've done that, I don't have a way of reopening it. So what I need to figure out is how I can have my little commands that open and close things, as well as having the resizable. I don't know how to do that yet. There's a lot I don't know how to do. But I love exploring this, right? Okay. So let's come back to... Oh. Failed to build, copy failed. No such file. Well, I'm pretty sure it's there. Let's look. ls html. Okay. So this is the file it says didn't exist. var lib. Huh. What on earth is this? Let's find out. Let's find out together, shall we? Is this my live stream? Oh, I was down to 0 for a second there. That means we're almost done here, folks. Test.py. Yeah, so try from the home directory. Just trying to see if there's anything in any of these things. It's definitely related to using a fully qualified path. No, none of this is related to a fully qualified. I don't think any of that's the problem. Let's come back here and think about this a bit. So, it used to work. Right? Make sure the file's actually there. And there it is. So it is actually there. Well, it's almost lunchtime, and I still haven't solved it. Let's see if anyone had suggestions. When will you play Rocket League? I don't even know what Rocket League is. That's a good question. Let's look it up and find out. Rocket League. Is that a racing game? Looks like a vehicular soccer video game. Huh. Don't know. One day. I'll probably try it one day, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to shut her down and go back to the drawing board on this and try to figure out. I'm going to do some quicker tests and work on that. And then we'll come back to this and try again. So thanks for being with me. 2 hours of crash and burn. Welcome to my life, and see you again. Bye all.